All right, get comfy, everyone. It's time for another deep dive. And today, we're really zeroing in on something so many of us crave: work-life balance. Or, I guess, as the cool kids are saying, work-life boundaries.
Boundaries. Yes, love it. And honestly, the source material you sent over, pure gold.
Right. Practical, actionable tips. I was so excited to get into this with you because it's easy to say work-life balance, but how do you actually live it day to day?
100%. And that's where these tips come in, ready to unpack them.
Absolutely. Let's start with something that seems so basic, but trips so many of us up: setting clear working hours.
Oh, I can feel everyone nodding along with this one.
Right. It's like, okay, 9 to 5, boom, done. But then 6 p.m. rolls around and you're answering emails.
Totally. Weekends disappear because you're glued to your phone. The lines get so blurry so quickly if you're not careful.
Okay, so how do we draw those lines?
It's about being intentional right from the start. One tip that really resonated with me was about communicating those boundaries up front with your colleagues, with your boss, with everyone.
Yes. Like setting expectations early on.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be a big announcement, but instead of being vague, be clear. Maybe I'm fully present from 9 to 5 and I'll get back to you then.
It's about setting that clear expectation.
Right, because when you're clear with yourself and those around you, it's amazing how much smoother things go.
Absolutely. Okay, boundaries are set, but now what?
Mm.
I've got to say, this next tip is my personal favorite: regular breaks.
Yes, any breaks are magic.
Seriously, stepping away for even 15 minutes can completely change my whole energy.
It's like hitting the reset button on your brain. Have you ever tried that Pomodoro technique?
You know, I've heard of it, but I haven't actually tried it.
25 minutes on, 5 minutes off. It sounds simple, but the way it can sharpen your focus, it's amazing.
It's about those little breaks that make all the difference.
Right, and those little breaks, they actually lead to more productivity.
I love that. Now, speaking of things we need to prioritize, you talk a lot about self-care, and I think this is where things can get a little tricky because it's not just about, bubble baths and face masks.
Oh, absolutely. It's so much bigger than that. It's about actively investing in your well-being, whatever that means for you.
So true.
Whether it's daily exercise, pursuing a hobby, or just spending quality time with your loved ones, it's about recharging those batteries.
I like to think of it as filling your own cup so you have more to give. Okay, ready for the tough one.
Bring it on.
Learning to say no. This one gets me every time.
Oh, it's hard for sure, but it's also so, so important.
I know. It's just hard to say no sometimes.
Right, but remember those boundaries we talked about. Sometimes saying no is how you protect them.
Because every yes is a no to something else.
Exactly. So if your to-do list is already overflowing and your boss asks you to take on another project outside your scope, think of it this way. You're saying yes to your existing commitments and no to being spread too thin.
This has been such a great conversation. I feel like we've only scratched the surface, but it's so empowering to have these practical tips to actually implement.
That's what it's all about, taking action. Start small, be consistent, and adjust as needed.
So well said. It's a journey.
100%.
Now, I want to leave everyone listening with this final thought. Imagine yourself a month from now. Strong boundaries are in place. Work feels good. Life feels good. You feel good. What does that look like? What does that feel like? Hold on to that vision, because that's your motivation to make these changes stick.